Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr., founder, CEO, and chairman of the Minor Football League. And we're here on the air again. Today is a Good Friday. I say Good Friday. I'm a Catholic. Good Friday is gone. But I want everybody to keep in mind that this pandemic is real. We're losing a lot of people because of this. And I want everybody to take all the precaution they can because it's real. But inside the MFL, we continue to keep doing the things that we do in terms of getting ready for the 2020-21 season, because in spite of what other leagues going to do, we're not going to take that chance with young people and our staff and people a part of the MFL nation. I still say stay at home. Stay at home because we still don't know what this virus is. I have some guests today. I have my Chief Strategy Officer, Melvin Forbes, going to join us today, along with Charles Olawole. Because we get ready to do that Africa thing. So right now, I'm going to bring on my Chief Strategy Officer, Mr. Melvin Forbes, in a little bit. So I want you to know the type of guests that we have. We're going to always bring on parts of our staff for Inside the MFL. So there, we can keep y'all abreast of what's going on. We get a lot of calls from players want to know, are we going to go? We're going to go in 21. We're not going to take a chance on young men going out there right now. Football is important, but it's not that important for the MFL to take a chance with young people live, because this thing is serious. And as I stated, I lost some friends of mine because of this virus. So I know the seriousness of it. And please wash your hands. Make sure you got gloves on. Make sure you got that face mask on. And another important thing, don't wear that same face mask all the time. Once you wear it a couple of times, change it, get a new one. Because if you keep wearing that same one, then you put yourself in harm's way to catch something. Now, everybody giving the different theories on what this pandemic is, but I say to you, they say, some people say it's airborne. I hope to God that it's not, because if it's airborne, we're all in trouble. Because air, it travels everywhere. So don't care what you do, you can't protect yourself if something airborne, as you know. But going back to the MFL, we have each week we like to bring on a different GMs that we have, that the MFL have new GMs, and we like to introduce people to them. Not only in the area, but we also have GMs, and we want the people to know where the teams are in these different areas, the franchises. So like I say, I'm going to bring on right now, I have Mr. Charles Olawole. I'm going to bring on right now the MFL Commissioner of Africa, so because we're going over there. Mr. Olawole, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing very well, and you?
Oh man, I see you staying out of harm's way.
Yeah. That's all we can do.
Yeah, that's all you can do. I know. I was talking to Charles because we always we're constantly talking with each other. The MFL, we're always keeping contact with each other. And I said, "You're not going out there." Charles said, "No, I'm not going out there. Somebody got to tell the stories. I'm not going out there."
Charles. Said and done,
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, Charles, I know this pandemic, and Charles, by the way, also a preacher, So, we got all kinds of hands on us with the, thank God. So tell us what we've been doing. The last meeting we had in terms of Africa, we met with one of the kings over there. Why don't you fill our audience into, that meeting and what we did, and then we'll let you talk about your duties over going to be over in Africa. Besides, he also the owner of the Baltimore. Well, we moved him from Baltimore, the Colts, and it's the Maryland Colts now. So this guy wearing 3 hats. We may take some of them off of him. So Mr. Olawole, tell them the MFL Nation what we're doing and what you're doing in terms of that.
The plan for MFL Africa is ongoing, and we are very excited about different changes and different initiatives and different stakeholders that we are meeting and their responses. Right now, we have a footprint all over the nations, the continents of Africa, in Nigeria, in Sierra Leone, in Ghana, South Africa, Cameroon, and Madagascar, Mauritius, Kenya, and Egypt. We're meeting with General Nasir, who is the chairman of the African Sports Commission. We have a king from Ghana, the king of Aselu, who is also will be helping with the Wakanda village. They want a team over there also, and so many wonderful things are happening. And one of the good things that I really love, and I'm really proud of, is the fact that right now the collegiate sports in Africa is said to be dead, but right now they're bringing it up, and we as the MFL is one of the main sponsors of that effort. Right. So right now, they have the collegiate sports, being rejuvenated, in all Africa. And right now, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be getting players from the colleges, and we're going to be getting, fresh legs, fresh, skills. And everybody's just very excited. They are well positioned, to do this. And right now, we're going to be part of the pilot program. So they're going to start with about 32 colleges. I think 2 in Nigeria, in Ghana, South Africa, in Egypt, and all those countries. So, and just like we said, we are going to have 16 teams in Africa, and while we keep 16 teams in the United States. And those two groups will be playing each other. And we're going to be having the World Bowl. We're going to be having exhibition matches. We're going to be having. I
know you're happy about that, Charles, and the World Bowl.
Yeah, we're going to be having the workshops, seminars, and and clinics, and right. Let people and then teach our people in Africa. And we are not going to compromise on the standard of the game. We're not planning to compromise on the standard of what we are delivering. So we are bringing the best, nutritionists, the best coaches, the best GMs. To come and teach our people, and teach them how to be team owners, how to play the games, how to be how to invest in apparels, how to invest in the dancing team, and the media.
Laboratory of change. That's what it's all about.
Yes,
the laboratory of change.
And we have a goal, and we're not going to deviate from that goal. And another part that is very interesting that I want to share today is the fact that we are planning. We've been talking to the media houses in Africa, and we're going to have a reality TV show, how the whole process evolves. So, that way, as we recruit, players, we go to their homes, see how their humble beginning, and we put a story behind it. Just like you have in American Idol, something similar.
Just like the Hard Knocks, the NFL show.
Yes. So they're going to see that.
I want to, don't mean to cut you off. I want to point this out to you. You have to be excited about how many Africans were taken in that draft.
Of course. Of course. So we are so excited. We are so excited that, that the game is coming back to the motherland, and when you guys are going to see all this unfold, it's going to be a very beautiful story, Apparently, apart from the reality TV show, I think there's going to be documentaries and books are going to be written on this. How the NFL brought the football to Africa.
We came back home.
Yes.
The NFL came home.
Yeah.
Also, I want you to hold that thought for a minute.
Okay.
I want to bring in our Chief Strategy Officer. So we want to get Mr. Melvin Forbes in here. How you doing, sir?
Very well, sir. How are you?
All right. You see, Mr. Olawole is very, very excited because they took so many Africans in the drafts. So we're excited about that. If you could kind of move a little more to your left, Mr. Forbes. That's all right. You're good now. We switch it. Yes. Okay. We was talking about the MFL, and we'll let you expand on that a little bit more. Because Mr. Charles Olawole, he was really getting into it. He was very excited about it, and we was all excited. The fact that so many Africans were taken in that draft, it just goes to show you that talent level is there. It's a matter of the MFL going there, putting franchises there that's owned by Africans. You know, we're not just going there, they're going to be owned by Africans. So I want to let Mr. Forbes come in here and expand on some of the things that we're doing too. And we just have this big conversation inside the MFL. Mr. Forbes.
Well, let me just say, first of all, everything starts with a vision. And Myles, kudos to you. And we can never, ever forget the foundation that got us to where we are. Had you not played in the NFL for one of, probably the greatest NFL teams, the Patriots, because they got 6 rings, right? Okay, that's number one. Number two, the fact that you didn't just play, you understood that there was a life after football.
Absolutely.
And because you created something that others couldn't see, and like anything, when you start a movement, it's not something that happens overnight. And you didn't just start it, you stayed with it. So you have now taken what I consider a domestic element somewhere where in the NFL had never been and are still not. That's in the African continent. That within itself is historic. But if that's not enough, the fact that we are now bringing these two entities together that will benefit both the domestic and international economy is incredible, especially at a time when we're all being challenged by this pandemic, which means the minor football league is going to become even more important because all the things that the NFL want or need to do will be developed and tested by the minor football league. Because you can't use what I call the major element of anything before you test it and put it there. So we really will become even more as a development league, which was your vision all along. You said we're never going to compete. All we want to do is develop. And so we are at a very historical time, and it's all due to your vision, to your capability, and to your understanding that life was beyond football. And that's why I am just part and humble that you saw that I could be a small part of helping create the laboratory of change for the minor football league.
Now, here's somebody that worked for 3 presidents and 4 governors saying that he's glad to be a part of this. And I know, Mr. Charles Olawole, I know you laughing because anytime you mention rings, Charles get excited.
Right.
Mel, Charles get excited. As soon as you mention rings, although Mel don't want to wear ring, he said draw too much attention to him, so he don't want. But Charles, he can't wait. Am I right or wrong, sir? Charles.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Charles, everybody, all the GMs that thus far that we had on inside the MFL, all of them talk about winning. All of them talk about, it's so the excitement that the MFL brings to all parts of the country, even in this pandemic. And I tell everybody, please take this serious. You know what I mean? And as I was saying, Mr. Forbes, we're not going to push anything. We're going to wait to 2021, I'm sorry. And I tell people, the NFL got 75 years on us. We've been around for 25 years, but we still here. We survived, as Mr. Forbes said, most of the catastrophes, we survived it. We still here. The Alliance Football League came, everybody was excited. I told them it wasn't going to last. Here we go again. Who came next? You came next. Now McMahon want to bring in and what happened? So it's a concept, and I want to throw it back to Mr. Olawole. What does this mean for Africa? The fact that we are coming there, Charles.
Yeah, so what it means for Africa is the fact that number one, the game of football itself is played by 75 to 80% African Americans, not Chinese Americans, not Indians Americans. There's African Americans. So already it's Africans' game to start with. So the question is that why is it that the game is not represented in the soil of the continent of Africa? So basically, what the MFL is doing is to bring the game of football back home where it actually belongs. We're going to look for raw talents, people who are, athletes who go to the Olympics, who can run, who can move, is in house. All they needed is for somebody to mold them, and that is what we're bringing. And believe me, I cannot tell you how excited everybody is. Both people from the government, the stakeholders, the sport authority, and everybody, just like the students, the younger ones. They get to see how the game is played, being taught, and of course the opportunity to invest, to hone, and the fact that the game we are bringing it over there, not to take anything away, but to give them the opportunity as Black people or people of color to hone, a team, and to hone, to be part of something that's big as this. So I think it is time for Africa. Africa is the next frontier, and we are ready, and to also experience the MFL.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You guys didn't. I thought you guys would say, "Where Miles there? Who's this young guy here?"
Yeah.
You emailed him. I cut that. Y'all had me looking like Santa Claus, but I knew y'all would come on. I knew y'all gonna be cliche. So I say, let me take this off, and I thought everybody would say, "Who is that young guy? Where Miles at?" Mr. Forbes, can you expand in terms of a global aspect of it, and as far as what the MFL bringing as a whole with the laboratory of change, and you can expand on that a little more, if you may.
Sure. Obviously, our core element is, football, right? Because that is the thing that is going to cement this relationship, because most people can not agree on politics. They can't maybe agree on business.
Right.
But everybody loves sports.
Global.
Soccer, hockey, golf, whatever. In addition to that, what it brings is some spirit. It brings esprit de corps. It brings a camaraderie. It brings an element that other things may not bring. There are people that know absolutely nothing about politics that know who Muhammad Ali was.
Yeah, right.
They knew who Jackie Robinson was. They know Tiger Woods. They know Michael Jordan. Sports. So sports has a way of bringing people together like never before. So it will create a cultural, what I call pollination of enhancement. We will be able to know more about each other, because there is this great divide. They're way over there, we're way over here. Now we know that there's been sprinkling of that coming together, but when you've got 32 teams with all those people working together, being there, learning each other, then that whole pollination of interchanging of intellectual capital becomes even more significant as it goes into the economics of what we're doing. I mean, just think about it. You've got the whole economical thing of merchandising and all those other elements, okay? So all those elements, in addition to the sports, is going to make a difference on the continent of Africa. In addition to that, you're going to be developing, if you will, ambassadors for each country, each continent rather. There will be those who have never even been outside Northeast Washington, D.C., right? And
right.
So I've been to Africa.
Or any part of the country.
Or any part of the country. And also it will dispel a lot of the myths.
Right.
Let me just say this. Thank God for the internet, right?
Thank God for social media.
Yes.
But it was the internet that allowed social media. And thank God that in 1982, when Judge Harold Green broke up AT&T, there was a company called MCI that was formed in 1982. I was very fortunate to be hired by the founder of MCI in April of 82. So we became the second longest long distance company in the world. But more importantly, just like the MFL, we helped create the telecom industry. And as a result of creating the telecom industry, we have social media. So we created the channel for the content, what the MFL is doing is creating the channel for the content of not just sports, but economics, education, information, and motivation.
And you know, I'm glad you touched on that. And Mr. Olawole,
Yes.
over there in Africa, which I'm looking forward to, because you know I'm gonna do my citizenship.
Yeah.
You know, what does it mean in terms of, you know, we understand Africa is a rich continent over there.
Yes.
And it's ironic that, you know, that they don't really have ownership of everything.
Yes.
And it's people over there,
Yes.
Africa, that you know, that the dynamics have changed over there.
Yes.
I'll let you expand on in what way has it expanded and changed in terms of not only what happened with this,
yes,
but as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, you know, thank you for that question. You know, because when you look at what has been going on over the years, African has been shortchanged in a lot of ways, and we've seen our people being taken advantage of. You've seen companies, you've seen nations come to Africa to just rip them off. You know, and for the first time in a long time, we get to see a real movement coming to improve the economy, to improve, you know, relationships, you know, to give them an avenue, you know, for enjoyment and relaxation, and at the same time teach them and to upgrade them and mold them. And this is exactly what they've been yearning for all this while. So having this at this point in time is such a great news, and that is why the stakeholders and the government and the leaders and the, you know, the political leader and the economic leader, they're so happy and excited that, you know, for the first time, a group is actually coming, an entity is coming of a global stature to come into that nation, you know, to help them. So this opens a different doors, and it's not only sports. We're going to be talking about, you know, how they can invest, how they can hone team, apparels, how they can, you know, I mean, real estate. So it's endless. So, and then when you now begin to do the, you know, the competition, the World Bowl, and putting focus of the whole world in Africa, you know, and then the fact that also we have these exchange programs whereby some of them who are not in any team can actually come here and to join the team. I mean, those are just things that they can only wish and pray for, and that is coming. And believe me, you know, the press, the government, all the stakeholders and leaders are just praying, you know, and thanking God for this opportunity that is coming. And that is why you see all the ambassadors, everybody's just, you know, happy, because it is time. It is time for Africa, you know, to also to rise and be on the global stage. And that is exactly what we are bringing, and what is going to be the experience of our people. And as somebody brought from Africa, this is just for me, you know, that in my own time, I get to witness our people being, you know, blessed and liberated, and, you know, being, you know, molded and shown the way that they too can have a seat at the table. You know, so this is what a wonderful news.
Yes. And without firing a shot, and Mr. Forbes, as you know, I'd like you to talk a little more about the fact that we're talking about ownership.
Yes.
You know, that's the big the big thing here. Because I tell everybody, we're not coming to Africa to take anything.
Take anything away.
We're coming to give. Yeah. You know, this is yours. You know, this is the first time in history that people of color get an opportunity to own a minor professional franchise.
Yes,
and then we talk about, I'll give that to you, Mr. Ford, legacy. You know, you want to touch on that, Mr. Forbes?
Well, absolutely. And I think, Mr. Myles, you've said it quite eloquently. But the only place you will ever find success before work is in the dictionary.
Yeah.
This, and that's because, you know, just for those, because S comes before W. So the only place you will ever find success before work is in the dictionary. Now, that being said, we know that the price of freedom is performance.
Yep.
I don't want anyone to be misled by think this is an easy task. Mr. Myles, you have often given me the historical lessons of how the NFL evolved, and when the first Super Bowl tickets was what, $10 or something like that?
$10. That's what it was.
Now think about that. The Super Bowl, $10 won't even get you a rock at a Super Bowl. Now you can't even get a
Yes.
Can't get a cab there for that.
right,
Maybe an Uber.
right. And so I'm sorry, just one quick second.
That's it.
Hey,
And Mr. Charles Olawole,
Yes.
and you can expand on that even
Yes.
more.
So one of the things that really makes us very happy about this is that the MFL says the Trojan horse. So not only are we bringing sports and entertainment, we're bringing technology, we're bringing WJS water, we're bringing treatment, and so when you now have all this, you can imagine how many jobs will be created. You can imagine how many lives will be affected. You can imagine how a community will be transformed.
Right.
You can imagine the focus that is bringing into that city, and economic development. And that is why I said it's very important that we're going to document this with that reality show. And the TV station is so excited about that. It's going to be inside the MFL. They're going to see how Africa, embraced, this
No
game.
people in the trees swinging.
Yes,
nothing.
and how people come. Yeah,
myth away.
yeah. And we will see how people come from humble beginnings.
Mhm.
You see them how they taught the game, how they they understand, and not only are they going to be taught the game, but also the business side of it, and then grow and mold them into what they're supposed to be, So
Beyond the field. And
Yes.
Mr. Forbes, I let you pick up from where you finished.
Yeah, I apologize. That was
Oh, no problem. We know you're a busy man. You're
Yeah.
Charles Olawole. Y'all got too many hats. I'm just one guy. I'm just the boss. So yeah, I ain't got nothing.
you are the boot on the ground.
I'm the boots on the ground.
but to what Charles was saying, just to piggyback a little bit, but the legacy of
Yes.
what we literally are writing history. We are creating and documenting oftentimes, and Charles, I'm glad that they recognize the value of the documentation, because as Richard always say, documentation be conversation.
Can you move a little bit to your left, Mr. Forbes? There you go. There you go. Good.
Okay. Mr. Myles always say that documentation be conversation. And I picked it up by saying words that are spoken are in the air, but words that are written are always there. So if we do this documentation, that will leave the legacy, because we both know, all of us know, that oftentimes we later discovered that the history that we were being taught was not accurate. And sometimes it was embellished, and then sometimes it was just a lie. So we have an opportunity to tell the story as it is by documenting it. So that will be part of the legacy of how we ensure that those who come after we're gone. See, we're not just trying to create for what is. We're trying to take the intellectual capital of the futuristicness of our experience to make sure our young people, future generations, when they say, how did the MFL get to Africa? You'll say, go to this documentation. It will be documented how it was done, why it was done. And the fact that, again, the world, as we know, is evolving, it's changing. We are going to more of a blended society.
Oh, yes.
Listen,
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, and I hope I don't offend anyone, we're all God's children. When you cut me, I have red blood just like anybody else. So everything that this pandemic has showed us, you can be rich, you can be young, you can be old, but you're going to die.
That's right.
All right.
That's something you all have to do. You got to go here.
So the NFL, the MFL has an opportunity to bring so much joy through this movement and so many other opportunities, as you said, Charles, in the community, educationally speaking, but just the whole plateau of getting to understand each other. Because I always have believed, if you can bring people to a plateau of understanding, we can rise to a peak of unification, which has always kept us apart, because we get caught up in little ism and schisms and stuff that is insignificant. I call it background noise. If we keep our eyes on the prize, because, like again, the price of freedom is performance. So we have to perform, but that means we have to perform collectively, not separately. That's why it's kept us weak, because we have been trying to perform separately. So the legacy, Mr. Myles,
I love that.
Right.
I love
History is what you create while you're here. Legacy is what you leave when you're gone. Long after we're gone, people will be talking about the history we made and making this happen.
Yes.
Well, that's what they most of the ambassadors said to me. This is gonna live longer than you, Mr. Myles.
Yeah.
And that's what I got 17 grandkids. I don't know. But more importantly, we need to understand, and we're trying to convey to the HBCU schools,
Yes.
the MFL is here. Although you would like to play in the NFL, but just like anybody else that dream, after a while, you got to wake up from the dream.
Yep.
The HBCU schools have to understand the MFL is here. We have franchises in different cities. We down in the southern part of the country as well. We got 6 franchises down there. But more importantly, we got to understand that it's nothing wrong with being somewhere else. I tell people all the time. They say, "Well, what is this? The second turn?" No, we're the first turn. We the first time. There's no second turn. You don't get a second turn here because this is your first time here. We are the laboratory of change, and when I dwell on that so much because I don't want people got to understand, man. The NFL has 75 years on us. We way ahead of the NFL when they started. A lot of people, if you do your history, but remember that the NFL in 1945 didn't want African Americans playing, period.
No.
Because they say it devalued the brand. But they changed their mind back, in 47 or something like that. Then Fritz Pollard, and a lot of people don't even know who he was. But we just, we ain't doing that, but refine what he tried to do.
Yep.
That he had a lot of, and more so, people of color was just giving him just as much obstacles as people as Caucasian Americans. So we don't get into that. I get a little fired up, but I had people like Mr. Forbes and Mr. Olawole and Jamie Dukes and all them kind of keep me in place. But sometimes it's sad because Black people are the biggest consumers in America, and we have nothing to show for it. We're always talking about we can't afford this. Who got the thing they can't afford? Cars they can't afford, Gucci bags, all that old BS stuff that don't make no difference. But what can you leave as a legacy? I often tell people all the time, oh yeah, you can wear your NFL hat, but that stands for not for long.
Yeah.
That's what the NFL really stands for. But the minor football league, if you own one, you're talking about money for life.
Yep.
Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Money for life that you can pass down to generations. I always give this, I wouldn't say plea, but I try to reach out to former players. This is the laboratory of change. The ruling rules state that the NFL only have to interview African Americans. That's terrible. Why not hire so many African Americans? That's what it should say. It should have been commended long time ago. You know what I mean? But I'm one, and I tell people all the time, you can't tell somebody what to do with their league. But I tell you what, we often qualified people, an opportunity for GM's position, head coaches. You had a lot of great college coaches in the Black schools, as you know, the HBCU stayed longer than they should have stayed. I mean, but at that glass ceiling, as you know, Mr. Forbes, they couldn't go nowhere else. The NFL wasn't going to have them, and it's not because of their ability. I often was asked this question here, and I hopefully I answer it for everybody. They say, well, what happened to the Black players that went into the NFL? Now, don't forget, the only reason that HBCU had a lot of those great players like Shell and all that is because, don't forget, Lamar Hunt started the AFL. And the NFL had a moratorium on the big schools. So where did he go? To the HBCUs, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, those players say, well, look, we had hard enough time to be looked at and get an opportunity. Because had not been for Lamar Hunt starting the AFL, they still would have been still home. But you know what they said? I'm not going to send my kid to an HBCU because they won't get an opportunity. I'm going to send them to the big schools. So when people say, why all the players that played in the league, why they don't send these kids to HBCUs? It was hard enough to think about it. Who they're going to look at? Not because the kids in the big schools is more talented than the in the HBCU school, but who cares?
Yes,
That's how they look at it. Let's go to this part of the captain field. We don't have to walk the whole field. And I know you just ain't to go because Dr. Forbes is from down the south. I mean, let me hear your before we go to Charles. Let me hear you expand on that, Mr. Forbes, because I get excited now.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, listen, thank God again for social media that allows us to be able to display these young people's talent. But more importantly, thank God that they have a place to display that talent that can take them further than they ever would have been able to go before. Because remember, at one time there was only ABC, NBC, CBS.
Yeah, three.
Right? The big three. Then cable came along. Now, then you had ESPN. Now you got ESPN, ESPN 1, ESPN 2. Now you got Fox. Fox got sports. Yeah. So the evolution, again, of sports is so intoxicating that it will take a person that has absolutely no knowledge of the game to want to be part of the game. And that's what sports does. And because the MFL, as you have so eloquently put it, Mr. Myles, we are not just saying that we're going to develop you for football. We're going to develop you beyond the field, which is the laboratory of change.
Absolutely.
GMs, PR, healthcare professionals. You need to hone your skills and have a place to hone those skills. So consider us your residency. When you're a doctor, am I right, Charles?
Yeah, yes, of course.
Has to go and practice his residency somewhere so he can be on his own at some point. So look at us again, and that's why I tell people all the time, we don't compete with anyone, but we develop for everyone.
No. There you go.
We try to compete. We just develop it. You've got Heisman Trophy winners sitting at home right now with all the skills, but nobody knows they're even there. If they come play in the MFL, we're now in Africa or here domestically, now all of a sudden, people are seeing you like that. Wow, who is this guy?
And you still relevant?
Yeah.
You in your community?
Yeah.
These types of things, you know. I know, Charles, I know we let you get in on this too, Mr. Olawole.
Can I say one more thing, Mr.
Absolutely.
I do apologize. I do have to get another call.
Right.
But let me just say this in my closing. Again, success has prerequisites. Okay. And I call them the 4 Ds. You gotta have, first of all, desire. But after the desire, you gotta have dedication, right? And after dedication, you gotta have determination. Because even if you've got the desire to do something, you're gonna run into some obstacles. So that dedication and determination will help you prevail. But even after that, you gotta have something called discipline. Around all those elements. Now, those are the prerequisites. But the formula for success is ATO, ability, time, and opportunity. Right?
Wow.
We can't control time because yesterday is a cancer check. Tomorrow is a promissory note.
Yes.
All we got is cash on hand right now.
Right.
We can't control opportunity because in the 80s, it was called the door. In the 90s, it became the window. Now it's just a crack. The only thing that we can control is our ability. But when ability, time, and opportunity coincides, success will occur. What am I saying? This is our time, this is our ability, and this is our opportunity. But what we don't want to happen is that the opportunity become a situation, because a missed opportunity becomes a situation. So I'm hoping that all of those that are listening and tuning in, you need to get involved with the MFL, just like people didn't believe in Google, they didn't believe in Facebook, they believe in a lot of these things. The MFL will be one of the 21st century legacy historical things that people will be talking about for generations to come. So with that, thank you, sir. Charles, look forward.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all stay
Mr. Forbes.
safe now. Y'all stay
Yes.
safe.
Okay.
Because you're too valuable for us to God's willing, keep us safe. Okay.
Thank you, sir,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Forbes.
Thank you.
But
All
you
right,
know,
thank you.
Charles said he got to be here to tell his story.
You know, yeah.
You all
Thank
take
you,
care.
Mr. Forbes. Okay.
Okay.
So, Charles, I mean, over there, we met with several different ambassadors from different
Yes.
countries and stuff.
Yes.
And you were also excited, but I know you have had a further conversation with them, more
Definitely.
dialogue than me, because you
Yes.
know that's your job.
Yes.
So, what's the census on us coming there? And I know everybody is excited and stuff, but give us the census and some of the things that you've been doing.
Yes. Apart from the excitement, you see, one of the things that we are bringing to the nation of Africa is this a new mentality of doing business. So, and as part of our plan is that when you talk to people, especially people from America or anywhere that you go to Africa, the first thing that comes to mind is that, oh, what are you going to do about the corruption? What are you going to do about this big black, the elephant in the room? How are you going to handle that? But from our side, we've been able to do our own groundwork. What we have done is to engage with one of the stakeholders and leaders of the EFCC in Africa. He has just been made the African Union Ambassador for Anti-Corruption, who has agreed to join us, who is also just as excited, as committed, just like we are. So it's going to help us. What it's going to do is to create what is called a plan for us. It's going to be a template that we're going to replicate everywhere we go in Africa. It's going to help us put out. We want to operate at the highest ethical standards. It's going to help us to create our governance plan, how we do compliance, how we attend to every government mandates, the status, regulations, directives, policies, rules, standards, and how we do enforcement. We are not breaking. We are coming to bring what is called industry best practices. We are not compromising on the standard at all. The game is going to play the right way. People are going to learn the right way. The people are going to learn about how to invest in apparels in the factory. They are going to learn about how to do, how to be owners of a team, how to join, to be trained on media, how to train, and how to be coaches, to be nutritionalists, to be doctors, to be people who they will be trained the right way. And then when they sign contract, they know that they are signing something that is legitimate, and also that nobody is coming to rip them off in any way, but to also to develop the land, to train our people for economic development. And also we're going to be part of multiple social impact activities. We're going to be going to all the villages, we're going to be doing tours. We want to get our people, we want to eat the food, we want to do everything they do, and to let them know we're just part of them. And then for the treatment side, we're going to do a lot of free treatment to different communities, and we're going to give waters. We want to be part of them. So this whole thing is a dream come true, because it is time for our people to also, to be encouraged, and them to also experience, the MFL at this grand level. And so whatever we do in Nigeria, we're going to replicate the same thing in Africa, in South Africa, the same thing in Cameroon, the same thing in Egypt, the same thing in Mauritius. We're going to replicate the same thing. The only thing we've been saying is that we are only bringing 16 teams. I know this is one of the main issues.
Yeah.
16 teams, we have 55 nations. So I know that a lot of nations, everybody want to have a team, but 16 teams cannot go around. So what we're doing is that the bigger nations will have a team. Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Ghana is one of them. Ghana, because Ghana will not let us do if we don't give them a team. We're going to have a team. So those big countries will have a team. the smaller countries in a particular region will come together to own a team. So like, you know, Senegal, Gambia, in that region, they will come together with whatever in that area. Madagascar, Mauritius, in that area, they come together, they own a team. And I said, the nations that does not have a team, they still have the opportunity to bring their players part of their to join the exchange program, whereby they can send a player to the 16 teams over here. Things like this have never been done before, and you know, this is a wonderful initiative, and you know, and I'm just excited and happy that we get to live to experience something as big, you know, as this, you know, coming to nations of Africa.
And also, a lot of people, what they don't know about you, Mr. Olawole, that you're a very successful businessman here in America and over in Africa. Won't you just give them a little synopsis of your background?
Yeah. So, I mean, my background is IT. I own a IT company called Graffiti Consulting. So, currently doing contracts with multiple government agencies, with you know, the IRS, the DHS, the census, you know, and other you know, government agencies, you know. So we send in, you know, consultants, you know, and we thank God for what the Lord has done. And but the IRS pays the government, the consultant pays the bill, but the MFL will take us to the dream house, to dreamland. It is the real dream, you know. So I'm just, you know, happy, you know. So thank you.
Teamwork make the dream work.
Yes.
And you know, we've been working so hard. And like I say, we have a lot of players been calling. We've been interviewing a lot of different GMs and stuff. And we want people with great backgrounds that understand the game and understand business as well. But we want, more importantly, we want to give people an opportunity to get a coaching job or a GM job in the MFL. We want even intern coaches. You want to coach, we give you opportunity here because you have to start somewhere. And a lot of people might wonder, why are they still around? Yes, we were celebrating our 25th year. And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, we never, you know, wow, we didn't know anything about it. Well, you know, this new, I said it's new to you, but it's not new. We've been here, but more importantly, it's an opportunity for these young people. And these millennials, people have to understand that nothing was built overnight.
No.
Everybody laughed at Amazon. They laughed at all the, you know, all of the companies that started, they laughed. But you notice their companies so big now that you really can't afford or do too many things with them because, you know, just like Facebook, you know, the guy says free. And everybody jumped on it. He gave you information. So understand that, you know, I just like to convey this to African Americans. This is the last time that people of color will get an opportunity to own a professional franchise. Now, I know you're hooked on the NFL, and that's good. But, and I will never knock them. But all I'm saying is it's another alternative. We don't compete with the NFL. We're a developmental league. You know, no, we're not paying people millions of dollars. We're not going to do that. We're a developmental league. You know, we're going to sign 53 players for the 16 franchise that's here. There's 16 over there. We do have $1 million worth of insurance on the players. We take care of the traveling, the hotel, and the uniform. So we provide an opportunity that you don't generally find outside of college or professional football. And the great thing about, you know, we as people of color, anything we don't understand, we have a tendency to be afraid of it. And we gotta wake up. You know, I'm an old guy. I'm getting used to computers. When I was in high school, they had typewriters. You know what I mean? Now everything is so technical now. Even with the computers now, they even have spell check on there. So you don't have to worry about if you spell something wrong. Spell check. So we have the dynamic people with us working with the MFL. And believe me, we're players, y'all not as excited as we are. Believe me, we understand what you want to do, but understand and keep this in mind. Y'all health and safety is very important to us. You know what I mean? It ain't about just playing football. Football, we've been here for 25 years, and you didn't know it. So don't think it's going anywhere. But we want to wait till the CBC things are good, And soon as we know for sure that one, they got to first, they know what it is. Two, they have a cure for it. Three, can they catch it again? Those are the things that we need to understand before we take a chance on doing combines and stuff and put these young people in harm's way, or our staff, or MFL Nation. We don't want people to go out there. Yes, we would love to see you, but I tell people all the time, and Charles, no, God's in charge.
Yes, sir.
You know, people think they're in charge. They ain't in charge. God's in charge. And if all these other leagues want to rush out because of the pressure of the money and stuff, and then you have these guys that take these viruses back home to their family members, then what? Then what? You know, think about it. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? So I understand all the hype and everybody want to get going, but now that you don't want to bet your life on it. You know, everything is good, but I wouldn't bet my life on nothing. And you know, one thing that Mr. Olawole said that had me laughing. I said, "Did you go out today?" He said, "No, somebody got to tell a story." He said, "I ain't going nowhere." He said, "I've been in here for what, a month and something. You've been at home." But you say you ain't going out.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere, but we're steady working. A lot of things being done. As you can see, you will always see Mr. Charles Olawole and our staff come on all the time, because this show is, like I say, it's inside the MFL. We're going to let you know what's going on. We're going to keep you abreast. We're on all the social media platforms. We're constantly putting data out about what's going on with the MFL. And I'm excited about that. But more importantly, I want people to stay safe, man. It's not a game out there. Believe me, it's dangerous. And, you know, I hear too many people of color is dying from this. And you could take it for a joke and think you got cabin fever. I'd rather have cabin fever than not be able to get no fever, nothing at all forever. You know? So you don't want to do that. And you know, we're excited, and I know Charles, as I say, he's a minister in this church. And how is the religious community? I just want to ask you, Charles, how they dealing with this? And I know I attended I listened to one of the services I called, remember?
It's we are living in a very, interesting times, and to say the least. I had the opportunity of engaging some of our church members who are nurses, and the ladies, they were telling me that when this pandemic is over, they will have to sit down and talk to a shrink, a therapist, because they have seen so many things they shouldn't see. They have seen dead people, like tens and tens, every day. They keep seeing these people coming in, they keep dying. And they have seen death. They've been exposed to so many deaths that they felt that they need to be psychoanalyzed so that they can come back to normalcy. There's this, and they said, right now, there's not enough beds at the hospitals. They are overworked. They don't have enough equipment. They don't have enough masks. And you see all those things happening. I always, just like you and I had a conversation, we have to be alive to tell the story. And so many things are happening right now that the best thing anybody can do is just stay at home. And a lot of people don't know what goes into a football match, like a combine. They don't know the beyond the scene, behind the scene, stuff. They don't know what takes to put it together. The contractors, the media, the drivers, the fans, the coaches, the nutrition, the dancers. It's just huge. And so when you now bring these people together, for what? All it takes for one person to have that virus, and it goes around. People are selling tickets. We have security. We have. How do you want to do that? So it's just the risk is just too much.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it, endangering, thousands and thousands of people's lives. So, and this race is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We are not in a hurry. It's a marathon. We're running it with consistency.
Marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, it's not a sprint.
And we're champions of marathon.
No, we're not in a rush.
We can walk. But I'm glad that you said that, because I know I was listening to this nurse, and she said that a couple of doctors committed suicide because of the death rate up in New York, and they say that media is not telling the truth about what's going on. And you know, I try to convey this to everybody. We don't know what it is yet. So before you start running out, you know, although we're a football league, but we're about the laboratory of change. We want to know stuff. We want to make sure we give as much information out that we can, that we know about, because we're gonna always stay safe. How you stay safe is stay home. You know, we'll give you all the information in terms of what the league doing and what we're trying to do. I'm just saying that you know, you have these frontline people, these nurses and stuff, and they telling this story. It's kind of sad, but when you really look at it, you know, you know, I read stuff and I look at stuff, and it's kind of disheartening because I know that, you know, we're not being told the truth. But then again, are we ready for the truth? You know what I mean? So, you know, it's like a double-edged sword. But I just feel like, you know, man, but God's, like I said, God's in charge, and everything happened for a reason. We hear the norm is gone. And it's a new norm now. You have to reinvent it, invent yourself now, because what you was doing before, you no longer can do it. Jobs are lost. That don't mean you're gonna be able to go back to those jobs, because a lot of those businesses have to recover. That's the significance of owning your own business. And talking to someone like yourself that owns several businesses, it's very difficult for people to understand things are not going to be the same. They're not going to be the same. We would like to think that, but it will not be the same. And it's sad, Charles, but you know, I feel that I'm a very spiritual individual, but I know that, you know, we just got to wait. We got to wait it out. You know,
and to add to what you just said, this virus, this pandemic, in our own eyes, it has changed humanity as we know it. And that might be there for forever. Because right now, when you take away what is called the community lifestyle of people, you know, you go to places where people like to hug each other. People like in Italy, they kiss each other with their mouth, and just to show love and affection.
They restrict it.
All the people have changed, and we can't hug each other, do that like we want anymore. You can't eat together. You can't all the stuff. You just, you know. So, and then we even want to now see where do we go from here. Because when I read history of when the Spanish flu happened in 1918, they said after they got over it, they still practiced social distance for about 2 years. With masks and other stuff. So we don't even know how long this will take. We don't. So we can just hope and pray and be safe. And that is what the league is saying. That is what the MFL is about. People just stay at home and be safe. Let's see how the direction this will go. And the Lord will lead us, you know.
Right. And now new GMs up there, we have to shout out to down in Florida, Coach Knight, and down up in Michigan, and we definitely up there, down in Atlanta, and down in North Carolina, and definitely Pat up there, because Pat said he gonna win the championship no matter when we start.
Oh, really?
Up in Rochester, so he
the Maryland team.
But he forgot all about you, Charles. So, you know, everybody talk about winning. Of course, you know, they always want to punch the Chiefs in the mouth for some reason.
They won the ring.
So they won the ring. That's what it's all about. But I want to thank Mr. Charles Olawole for coming on, and also the MFL Nation. I want people to understand that we are the MFL, and we call it Inside the MFL. We are concerned about everybody. We want everybody that we dwell on this a lot, because we want you to understand our show come on live on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock and Friday at 5 o'clock. Also, the radio show, DC Radio, come on 11 o'clock Saturday mornings, Inside the MFL. So we on all the major radio and social media. You know, you have to step inside the MFL and look at us. Take a look at us. Don't let nobody tell you something else. Come and experience the MFL. Come to be a part of it. Get to meet our new GMs and meet Mr. Charles Olawole. They're
Yes,
doing
sir.
a yeoman job over there in Africa. Everybody is excited.
Yes.
As you know, we will always have different guests on, will be what people that are part of the MFL. And that's what's important and what we're doing. So you'll know you're not just seeing me. It's all that you're seeing the GM from all around the country. And after a while, as you know, we have people on from Africa as well. We just had, so we will do that and let people know exactly what we're doing here with the Minor Football League. And in closing, I know you got a few words you want to say, Charles?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so just want to, encourage our people. MFL is coming to Africa. And I want to just encourage our people that this time also will pass. And we want everybody to stay at home, practice social distancing, wash your hands, use your mask, gloves when you have to, and just stay safe, And, we have a lot of things coming up. And you can only enjoy it when you are alive.
There you go.
You can only enjoy it when you're alive.
There
The
you
Lord
go.
will continue to bless everybody. Thank you.
Okay. And you've been listening to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Richard Myles Sr., along with Coach Mr. Charles Olawole and Chief Strategy Officer Melvin Forbes. And I want to say thank you, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. All right.